Here we go. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a podcast. Jillian Crane, President and CEO of First Responders Children's Foundation, before then, and currently was Vice Chairman of Kidtagious Entertainment and was a SAG after actor actress. Before then, everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. So it's good for you to be here today. Thank you so much for coming. There's a buddy of mine, Greg Wyke, that is asking for next time you come on, already planning for that, that he would have something to offer. He's a comic book artist. He just signed with Vivi. He'll give a piece of art that he'll sign, and he'll do a giveaway for you guys. And then
that's wonderful. That's just fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we'll go over that the next time you come on. But I just want to let you know there's a lot of people that love and support you. I think you're familiar with Guido, Turtle Golf, that's done that as well.
Love Guido.
Is amazing. So I guess a little bit of a just a history on the company, and just your reasons for doing this, because it's very influential. When did you decide to do this? What was the moment that you decided you needed to do something?
That is such a good question. I'm first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me, but also the fact that you already think you want to have me back a second time. I hope I don't bore you to death. So you'll be like, oh, can we maybe not have her back a second time? I'll tell you, I joined this board as a board member, actually, at First Responders Children's Foundation. And I think the reason is that you just mentioned, I was an actor, and writer for a long time. My background is in the entertainment business. And I had and I'm sure you and everyone listening remembers, potentially, if they're old enough, where they were on the morning of September 11th. But I was just coming back to New York from LA to work on a project. And I was staying in a friend's loft in Tribeca, very close to the World Trade Center. And I vividly remembered, looking out the window and seeing everybody running down West Broadway, or up, I should say, West Broadway, and then seeing all of the first responder trucks, fire, police, all the emergency medical service vehicles heading toward the World Trade Center. And I just had never, it's indelibly etched in my mind, because I had never experienced watching people serve a city that when there's something so horribly scary was happening, there were people running towards the danger. And I just, I was so startled. I didn't leave. They were evacuating the area. I stayed until almost 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And when I left, everybody was gone. And I was just walking up West Broadway to Houston Street, and they had put up a line where a perimeter by, you could not go downtown after that. And I just remember thinking, who are the people that are doing this? Why would they put themselves in that kind of danger? And that kind of service stuck with me. And then, 10, 11, 12 years later, heard about this foundation, thought, yeah, I'm going to join the board. And I joined the board, and I really thought, well, this is great, but there are a lot of guys, pretty kind of white guys, and very New York and East Coast centric. And I thought, well, we've got to bring more women in. What about the female first responders? Can we make it diverse? Yeah. We did a huge, I helped, I thought I was going to just be a troublemaker and they were going to kick me off the board. But in the end, they actually made me president of the board, because they could see that the things that I was trying to do were going to grow the organization. We did a rebrand. It was called National Law Enforcement and Firefighters Children's Foundation. A lot of words, and didn't really get to the point of children, first responders. So we did a rebrand, and we kind of started focusing in on children, women, diversity, and that was kind of the place where I thought, oh, okay, that's it. I'm done here. I'll stay on the board. It'll be great. But then COVID hit, and I felt like we needed some leadership around what we were going to do. We had to kind of move away from just regular programming and do a COVID-19 grant to first responder families, because we saw that we had to expand to 911 dispatcher families, and really saw the EMTs and paramedics and volunteer firefighters, that all these people were losing their jobs. And I just decided I wanted to be more involved. There was no acting to be done, really. And so I jumped in and was able to it just became this thing where I woke up every day with purpose. And I thought I could be helpful. And we were able to raise some money from a Mackenzie Scott grant that found us. You couldn't apply for it. And she saw kind of what we were doing around law enforcement, women, children, moving out of New York, but to other states. And we got a significant grant that helped us grow. So at that point, the board basically kicked me off and said, why don't you become the CEO? And I just jumped in thinking, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever done. I have no background. I didn't go to school for it. I don't have my MBA. I can barely balance a checkbook. No, I can't, but it wasn't my, but I think, in the end, it's been great. We've been able to do a lot. And I guess that's why I'm still here, that I think the work's really important and that we need first responders more and more. And so that's how it all happened. That was a long way of saying I didn't ever expect to be doing this.
I think that's great. It reminds me of Queen Amidala of the Naboo in Star Wars Episode 1. She's queen, and then when she steps down, she serves her term. They ask her to be senator, and she's like, how could I refuse? I feel like there's a lot of similarities there.
Yes.
So I'll bring up a quote. This wasn't actually said, it was something that Nixon was going to say if the Apollo 11 astronauts did not make it. He had a speech prepared, and he said, in the books of old, humanity looked to beings of amazement, and in them they saw heroes. Hercules, Thor, Hera. And in modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are now epic men of flesh and blood. Before this happened, who was your hero or heroes?
I would say I read a lot about Eleanor Roosevelt, and I thought, how incredibly brave she was and all the things that she was doing around, finding pockets of the United States, mostly, lower income, underserved African-American communities that were never even thought about. And she went to try to do something, and all of the ways, the firsts that she did. And I would say that would be one. I always thought about the entertainment space, writers who are creating content that I loved. I mean, I always loved Aaron Sorkin, Shakespeare. I was reading William Shakespeare thinking, how did you create these plays, this passion, understanding the human psyche to this level? So I guess, my heroes were writers and playwrights and a little bit of politics mixed in there.
Eleanor died before you were born, and you think you carry some of her essence with you?
Well, I sure hope so. She liked to drive her own car, and there are lots of stories about her just taking off from the White House. And I like to go on long road trips, exploring the countryside. So maybe
did she ditch her security?
Yes. Well, there was much less security then. There was much less security, but yes, she did.
That's so hard to think. Oh my God. Is that what you do? When you
well, I don't have security yet, so
but you say you go for long drives. You go for
I like long drives. I like discovering new places. I like going to new cities and meeting the first responders and their families, and seeing the kinds of, like you said, what they're responding to in their communities. We're working now on disaster relief through Hurricane Milton and Helene in Tennessee, Florida, and North Carolina. And we have a disaster relief program specifically for families and children of first responders who are literally, their homes are destroyed, their lives are destroyed, but their first responder parent, they're responding to the still saving people and getting the communities back up. So we're working with one of our corporate partners to bring some relief there, and getting the opportunity to go meet them, to talk to them. You just always, you meet people, you hear these stories, and you just can't believe that these are, like you said, there are heroes among us. They are walking among us. They're not up on the screen.
Agreed. And when you said that you have people now for Helene, when this started, was this first a national organization or just start in New York? And then how did that grow?
Great question. And this is Al Kahn's vision. Honestly, there he was in the midst of his, licensing success. And he said, I'm going to take a minute and actually care about the families the children who were lost. So 800 children lost a first responder parent on 9/11. But then he started to think about all first responders and their families. So he started a national organization, but the funding wasn't there as much because they didn't advertise. Before I joined the board, there was very little publicity and they were just kind of working in the tri-state area, a little bit here and there, but federally, Homeland Security and others, but it was mostly focused on the East Coast. And the programming was mostly around education, scholarships, and financial hardship grants for families that needed support. Now we're in almost every state, and our programs are scholarships and a mental health program for children of first responders, and disaster relief for families, and community engagement programs. So we've expanded in our programming, but our focus was what he always wanted it to be, what Al always saw it being. And we've just taken that and expanded it.
It seems that you guys are exceedingly efficient in what you guys do. Recently in the news, there has been some pretty negative reactions to what a certain part of what FEMA did during the Hurricane Helene, where they said that, oh, if this house has a support sign for X candidate, then you should skip over them. And now with the Department of Government Efficiency coming on board, they might cut that significantly. Do you think you guys would be able to fill that hole if needed?
I think we have a great network. Part of what we've done for 23 years is build a network of first responder families who are in every area in the country. And we can easily pick up the phone and call a sheriff or call a police chief. Or, when the Covenant school shooting happened in Nashville a couple of years ago, the emergency management of that was really, yes, it was terrible, but they saved a lot of lives. And we were able to kind of pick up the phone after that and call those chiefs and see what their families needed and what the community needed. So I think, based on our history and based on the connections and community we're creating, we hope that we can become a much bigger organization because we're prepared, we're staffed up, we're a lean, mean group, but we can get out what's needed for the family. So with support, every dollar helps. And if you look at our charity rating, our charity navigator rating, we're up there. We're very, very, we got the gold standard here because with the money we make goes out and it's, and we've been proven that we can deliver.
Yeah, that's always good to check. I always look at that for any animal charities I donate to, yes. Whether it's National Welfare Institute for animals or Best Friends Animal Society. It's a good measuring stick. So I'm glad you guys are on that. When you go and take a look at the next step, what might be needed? Is it additional people? Is it additional capital? Again, obviously we all hope that none of this is needed because everything's fine and dandy, but in the real world, what is the next step for First Responders Children's Foundation?
It's interesting as we are initiating a strategic plan as we go into our 25th anniversary, and we're looking at that exact question because we're seeing the wildfires, the hurricanes, potential, safety around voting, civil unrest. What do we do to make sure that we're supporting those who take care of us? And what I think is most important for everyone is that people realize that while we're celebrating our, kids' birthdays or at a concert or at a sports event or just around the holidays, there are families who, have lost someone in the line of duty and there's an empty seat at the table. There are families that are not together because their first responder parent is out and the whole family serves. They all sacrifice. They all make their communities a priority. So what I hope is that everyone in every community can say, okay, we want to support our first responder families, whether they support us or they just say thank you to the police officer down the street or the firefighter EMT, but they realize and can show gratitude through our programs or a thank you or just getting to know them and saying and having gratitude and just remembering not just when you call 911, but before you need to call 911, that you are cognizant of these incredible people and their families.
One of the most impressive things I've seen as a New Yorker, something I was not sure existed until I saw it on your car last year, was the Park Anywhere sticker. Now, obviously, you guys have that connection with the police chief and all that. How did you go about getting that? How long did it take?
I don't think we have a Park Anywhere sticker. It's a Park somewhere sticker. It's really like, it's not from the chief of police. It's really a city pass where if we're doing certain foundation business, you can park in commercial zones or some particular no parking zones for a period of time. It definitely, it was an honor that was given to the founder, really, because he had done so much for the community that they wanted to give him something special. And so I get to utilize that occasionally, but really, and actually I am now an honorary battalion chief of the FDNY, which that and $5 will get me a cup of coffee. But honestly, what I use it for? A lot of the restaurants, or some of them in certain parts of Manhattan, you can't use the restrooms unless you're a patron. So if you go in with that badge and you're just like, hey, can I just quickly use your restroom? They let you in. So that's pretty much but I'm honored. I'm honored to have been recognized by the FDNY and to be an honorary battalion chief. And I'm forever humbled by the work that firefighters do around the country. And you know what I love about Vivi and everything that you guys are doing, and I would love to tap into this and ask your question. Like, maybe we can bring all Vivi collectors together and see what we can do. Maybe we create something that's a digital collectible that looks like a first responder, or that's something interesting that we could create that maybe the Vivi platform sells, and we create some kind of funding or some kind of cool thing together that brings the community of Vivi together. Because I've never met such, just being in the room at the Vivi party, so many people who are interested but interesting, and who also know first responders in their community and who care about the work that they're doing, who are just incredible people, really, like conscious, civic-minded people.
We already have a little bit of that. Again, Guido from the Gold Dragon Club. You have Sanjay over here that is very, very close to you guys. Might get a little closer soon. I don't know if you want to announce that, or we'll
not yet, but I hope to see Sanjay in Dallas. We're having an event with some funders and foundations. We're going to try to see if we can get him to come to a Mavericks game with us and dinner. Sanjay, if you're listening, I hope I'm going to see you in Dallas with the team. Who is this lovely person saying congratulations?
Oh yeah, that's Sanjay.
Oh, that's Sanjay.
Yeah.
Sanjay, I'm coming to see you, and it's going to be epic.
Oh, when are you guys going?
We're going to go to a Mavericks game. We're going to have a lunch with some members of the Rosewood Foundation. We're going to, just generally check in, and we're going to meet with the Plano. See you in Dallas. So cute. The Plano chief and the Dallas chiefs. We offer all of our programs. So Texas, just so you know, is one of our priority states. We have a lot of relationships there, but our mental health program is in Texas. So we provide first responder children, basically, with up to 10 sessions of therapy. So Texas is a key market for us. And my goal with crypto, what's he got going on over there? Gardening. Ooh, I love it. Look at this. See? You got all these visionaries as part of your community. There's
in the Marvel comics, there's a guy named Reed Richards, and he is Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, and he has what's called a Future Foundation, where any gifted kid that shows potential in any of the STEM fields, they go on and he educates them for free. You mentioned scholarships before. Can you go a little bit deeper into that and who and how they go and qualify?
Yeah, thank you. It's great. We gave out 373 this year and 415 last year. We had 900 applications, and we had to turn some people away because we started with line of duty death families, and then line of duty disability, and then we go into we see their FAFSA form, which is their financial needs, and then what the situation is if they've lost a parent, and then we have a whole committee that just reviews literally 900 applicants. And like I said, we had to turn people away this year. My hope is next year we can not have to turn that many people away, but they become part of the First Responders Children's Foundation Scholars Panel and Council, and they get a scholarship, and we try to keep them in for 4 years. So it's either 4 years of college, or it's 2 years of college and then they go to graduate school. So it's up to 4 years. It's both university and trade school. And these kids are absolutely amazing. They're from all over the country. And now we have a speakers panel where, so just next week, we're having the CEO of Build-A-Bear address them, along with the EVP of the community engagement with the Orioles. So Sharon John and Carrie Watson are going to talk to them. Last year, we had the COO of the DEA. So Ray Donovan is his name. He's been honored at the White House. He brought in El Chapo.
Okay.
And
yeah, I knew I recognized that name.
He spoke in front of Congress talking about the fentanyl crisis recently. He's a brilliant guy. He spoke along with the CEO of Crayola. So a member on my team said it was like cocaine and crayons. But anyway, the kids loved it, and they learn life lessons, and love to have someone from Vivi come on and talk to them, because they're amazing kids. We create community with them. They're into service. A lot of them want to be in the public sector in some way or other, in public service. And so they're with us for 4 years, and they're just incredible. They're incredible kids. They're just incredibly, they're mature more so than I think other children are, because they see their parents sacrifice.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Vivi has a charity arm. Mr. MC1 or Sanjay says, yes, great idea. We can ask David, you and Ben Rose to do a First Responders Children's Foundation drop and donations. We've done this before with the Red Cross for Ukraine.
Yeah, we'd love it. And we can, give a lot of PR to that through our marketing and communications team as well. That would be really, really fantastic.
That'd be great. So you mentioned before people going before Congress and everything. I'm going to ask a question a little out of left field here. Earlier today, up until we had this podcast, I was watching the Senate hearings of the unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UFOs, and they admitted that aliens are non-human biologicals, the ones that they're talking about, the ones that are piloting these ships, and they are more intelligent from us. So as someone that's the representative of the First Responders Children's Foundation, what would you ask them?
How do they deal with fear, anxiety, and insecurity?
Ooh, that's a good one. How do you deal with that?
Oh, you're so good, Randy. Stop.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I have a great executive coach. I'm going to give him a shout out now. He's a general. Thank you. He's a general, and his name is James Johnson. And I thought, am I going to have an executive coach that's a general? We're going to do like planks? Is it all going to have to be very, high level, structured? He's brilliant. And he has gotten me to do a little more journaling every day. He's like, you just have to write down a few things. One, people do this, right? What you're grateful for, what surprised you, what you succeeded at yesterday, or, what you failed at doing. So you can just kind of keep a little thing going, and just a way to check in, because I think stress can build up. And I know for me, as we, going out and being in public, really speaking, getting on a podcast, anything you do, it's you have to sort of kind of work through. I don't think it means the absence of fear and anxiety and insecurity. I think it's just how do you work through it and share it, so that we all seem human, because we kind of, I think we feel like we have to just show the best of ourselves all the time. But if we can really relate and say, no, I'm actually really nervous, I'm scared. What if you don't like me? Or what if I fail? What if I let you down? What if I'm not, all these things that I think we all struggle with every day. Like we can share how we work together to not get rid of it, but to process it, so we can show up.
Agreed. I know you have to bounce really quick, so we'll end it here. Is there anything else that you want to plug, or any other shout outs you want to do before we all say goodbye to Dashi?
Well, Dashi, had I known, I'd have Ziggy here. He's visiting later. A little dog comes to the office. I would like to say, yes, sorry about the hard out at 3, but I appreciate you. One, just Randy, you're fantastic. I want to give a shout out, of course, to David and Ben, to Al Kahn, and his incredible, it's one thing to be a visionary in business and to have an understanding of what people want and love, and he just understands what to do. And everything he did for Vivi to create they came into a digital blockchain universe when nobody at those studios knew what that was. Yeah. And, brought David into an area that changed everybody's life. Here we are. And, but he also said, what can I do to give back? How do I make sure that my philanthropy matches, who I am as a person? So I just want to give him a huge shout out, and the board and our team here, and just all of you at Vivi who took your time out of a busy weekday to listen to this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I'll have you hang on for 1 minute after we end, just talk to you real quick. But thank you so much for coming on.